When I think of quarantine baking, I think of Rona. I think of turning one thing into another thing, something that's like into something that's really magical. Revampsation, that's a word. And that's exactly what's gonna happen today. I always have cake scraps because I'm always carving some kind of cake. And I was like, I need to use these up because I don't want a freezer full of cake scraps. I would actually like to have food in the freezer, right, Jaguar? Like, can I turn cake scraps into something? Let's do some, not bread pudding, but cake pudding. Blew your mind. We're gonna make cake pudding. We are. Yeah, we are. Oh, my Instacart order is arriving shortly. That's exciting. I'm finally gonna be able to eat something. You have seen these cake scraps before. I want y'all, before you even watch this video, to head to the comment section and tell me what you think this cake was before it got turned into cake pudding. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Press on the notification bell and let's get started. Cake scraps are on deck. I have two different cakes here. I'm gonna start off with the biggest one first because why not? Here are the ingredients that I'm gonna be using for my custard. I have some eggs here, some almond extract. You can definitely use vanilla. I just didn't want to use the last bit because quarantine, I'm not going out to the store anytime soon. I have some dried cranberries and cherries, some sugar, and some whole milk. I also do have pumpkin spice, which you'll see in a second. So I'm going to be using a large bowl for this. And I want you guys to check down below for the measurements of the ingredients, alright? So I'm going to start off with some sugar in the bowl, and then I'm going to add my pumpkin spice. And I'm just doing pumpkin spice because it's literally a blend of everything that I would add. Nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon. So I figured why not just use pumpkin spice. And then I'm going to add in my eggs. I'm going to use my little baby whisk to whisk all of these ingredients together. You could really have fun with this. If you had, oh man, why didn't y'all tell me I have banana extract? I could have put some banana extract in there. That would have been so good. It would have been like a banana cake pudding. Okay, so we're gonna add the whole milk to this. The cake that I'm using is just a 1-layer cake. If you have more cake, you may want to double the recipe. If you have less, you may want to half the recipe. And of course, if you don't have cake, this is just a great recipe overall. One of the best bread puddings that I've had was when I actually made a bread pudding with croissants. You can take croissants, chop them up. I'm adding my almond extract in right now. You could do loaves of bread, you could do brioche bread. It really doesn't matter what kind of bread or cake that you use. You guys, this is quarantine baking at its finest. It doesn't get any more quarantine baking than this. I'm turning cake scraps into a whole nother dessert. Okay, do you see this face? This is the face of what in the world is going on here. Obviously, I was in shock, you know, because I didn't know how this was going to turn out. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to guess what cake this initially was. Drum roll. If you said that this was my madre's spring Easter bunny cake, then you were correct. Oh, that's right. She hacked it up and I'm serving it back. We're turning that Easter bunny into cake pudding. I took all of the frosting off from the outside, but as you can see, there is still frosting on the inside, just a slight amount, and that's not going to matter at all. So I'm going to dice the cake up into large chunks, and I'm going to put that into my custard mixture, and I'm going to let the cake soak. I'm going to add in my dried cherries and cranberries. You can add as much or as little as you want. I tend to go more on the little side. And then I'm also going to add some ginger powder just for an extra little kick of spice up in there. You can put whatever dried fruit that you want. I know a lot of people don't even like dried fruit like that. I don't like raisins, so you'll never see me use raisins on the channel. Golden raisins are okay. So these are dried cherries, and I think that there may be dried cranberries in there also. I'm not sure though. So, but it tasted good.
My forehead reminds me of an alien that I saw on Star Trek. So I have a large muffin pan here and it's greased. I like to use nonstick spray, and I'm just going to use a measuring cup. This is a 1/4 cup in case you're interested, just to scoop my delicious cake pudding out of the bowl into the pan. And that 1 layer of cake is making 6 heaping muffins, so that's a pretty good size right there. So if you wanted to use a cupcake pan, you may get a dozen. You should get a dozen, actually. Yeah, that's exactly what should happen there. So I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees, and bread pudding, cake pudding, whatever kind of pudding you do does typically take a while to bake. This actually took about 40 minutes to bake in a 350 degree oven. Now you can go a little bit less time if you like a softer bread pudding. I like mine to be nice and brown on the outside and kind of firm on the inside. And when it came out of the oven, oh my Lanta, it smelled like heaven. I haven't smelled that bakery smell in so long, you guys, because I never bake home baked goods anymore. So these were so easy to pop right out of the muffin pan. This was just gorgeous to me. Shiny on the outside. It had a nice little like crispy shell. I was not expecting that. Who in your family makes the bread pudding? My grandmother always made bread pudding, and I definitely had to send her this recipe. This looks so delicious. Isn't it like photogenic? This isn't the most photogenic plate of cake pudding that you've ever seen. You've probably never seen a plate of cake pudding, so it definitely is. I already won, okay? So I hope that you guys try out this recipe. Check out the inside. It nearly has swirls of spices. It's so good warm, and it's even better to me cold, but it's definitely your preference. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Couture and cake pudding. Bye, guys.
I was so surprised at how this turned out. I've never done this before. I started off with cake cubes, and by the time that it actually baked, it was like there were no cubes. It's probably because the cake was frozen. If it was stale, it'd probably be different. But it was like a good fluffy cake pudding. Like, it was so good. It was kind of spongy, which I was very shocked about. By the time that it got to room temperature and completely cooled off, it reminded me of my grandmother's bread puddings. I ate all 3 of mine. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you're baking, and also let me know if you guessed right on what you thought that this cake was. Don't forget to comment and say hello. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging. My Instacart driver, she can't find the apartment, so I gotta go. All right, you guys, bye.